I am 101 years old. I have outlived my wife. I have outlived my friends. I have outlived my enemies. And somewhere along the way, I outlived the version of myself that cared what people thought of me. That's not wisdom, that's psychology. Because when you live long enough, your brain stops protecting illusions and starts protecting truth. Right now, I'm standing at the edge of life. I can see the bottom clearly. And before I go over, I need to turn around and tell you that people still dancing at the party, what people like me finally understand. You are living under a dangerous psychological lie. You think you have time. Your brain treats tomorrow like it's guaranteed. It discounts death the way addicts discount consequences. Psychologists call this temporal optimism bias. You act like your days are cheap, like you have an unlimited supply stored somewhere. You don't. You are already broke. You just don't feel it yet. You know you'll die, intellectually. But emotionally, your nervous system hasn't accepted it. If it had, you wouldn't be living the way you are. Let me tell you about Jack. It was 1968. Jack was my best friend, smarter than me, better looking, richer. His brain was wired for achievement, constant future orientation, constant delay of reward. One night after closing a massive deal, he leaned back, lit a Cuban cigar, and said, 5 more years. I grind for 5 more years, then I live. Italy, painting, freedom. 3 days later, Jack walked out of his office, grabbed his chest, and collapsed before he even understood what was happening. 42 years old, massive heart attack. Jack never went to Italy. He never painted a single canvas. And here's the psychological tragedy. Jack didn't die early. Jack postponed living until death arrived. His brain treated life like a waiting room, a psychological condition called deferred happiness syndrome. I stood at his funeral. And later, I went to his office to clear his desk. His calendar was full. His inbox was urgent. The world had already moved on. That's when I understood something brutal. Your absence will not disrupt the system. Your job will replace you. Your deadlines will survive you. And right now, when I look at your generation, I see Jack everywhere. I'll be happy when, I'll rest when, I'll forgive when. Let me give you a fact. From a 101-year-old mind, there is no later, there is only now. Your brain is gambling present life for a future that doesn't legally owe you anything. That is the worst psychological trade possible. Let's talk about your obsession with stuff. From a psychology perspective, materialism is not desire. It's anxiety disguised as success. I live in one small room now. A bed, a chair, a picture of my wife. I once had houses, cars, trophies, and with end-of-life clarity I can tell you, it is all future trash. I have been to more funerals than you've been to weddings, and I have never seen a U-Haul following a hearse. When you die, your children will hire strangers to throw away 90% of what you sacrificed your life to buy. The remaining 10% will be sold for coins. That is the psychological ROI of materialism. So why are you exhausted? Why are you missing childhoods, anniversaries, sunsets to pay for things that won't remember you? I'll tell you about my big win. Businessman of the Year, applause, trophies, validation. I went home alone. Dark house, sleeping family. And in that silence, my brain finally stopped lying to me. The applause didn't love me, it just used me. And the people upstairs, the ones who did love me, I had psychologically neglected them for social status. That regret never fades. Here's the truth. Psychology doesn't teach early enough. Your career is not your legacy. It's a transaction. You are trading irreplaceable hours to build something that will forget you. If you died today, your position would be posted before your obituary. So don't worship your career. It cannot attach to you. It cannot comfort you. It cannot hold your hand at the end. So what does matter? This is what people who live past 100 finally understand. The only things your brain replays at the end are connection memories, not achievements, not purchases, love you gave, time you showed up, moments you were fully present. I don't relive deals, I relive Sunday mornings, laughter, kindness to strangers. That is the only wealth that survives consciousness. So here's the psychology-based strategy for life. 1. Kill your ego. Your fear of judgment is a cognitive illusion. Nobody is watching you. They're trapped inside their own minds. 2. Practice the last time. One day, everything you do will be done for the last time. When you understand that, your brain switches from autopilot to gratitude. 3. Wake up. You have health, you have time, and you are numbing yourself with distraction. Put the phone down, touch reality, call people. Forgive, not for them, but to free your nervous system. We are all going to die, but most people never psychologically live. They stay safe, they stay distracted, and then they disappear. Don't be Jack, don't wait for the plan. Eat the good food, take the trip. Say, I love you first, because the clock is ticking. And once your brain finally understands that, it's usually too late. And once your brain finally understands that, it's usually too late. But let me tell you something important. This clarity doesn't come with age. It comes with confrontation. Most people don't mature psychologically as they grow older. They just repeat the same mental patterns for decades until the body collapses and forces awareness. People who live past 100 share one rare trait. Their minds stop lying to them early. They stop bargaining with reality. They stop postponing life. They stop negotiating with time. Psychology calls this mortality integration, when the brain fully accepts death and reorganizes priorities around meaning instead of fear. That's why people at the end of life appear calm, not because they are brave, but because the internal conflict is finally over. Let me explain what keeps you stuck. Your brain is addicted to later. Later is safe. Later has no consequences. Later never demands courage. The human mind evolved to survive, not to live deeply. So it tricks you into comfort, routine, distraction. Dopamine keeps you scrolling. Fear keeps you delaying. Ego keeps you pretending you're important. You think you're choosing comfort. You're actually choosing emotional anesthesia. That's why time feels fast when you get older. Your brain doesn't record numb days. It only stores moments of presence, risk, emotion. That's why childhood feels long and adulthood disappears. A life without attention is a life that barely existed in memory. People over 100 understand this instinctively. They don't rush, they don't hoard, they don't argue to win. Because when time becomes visibly limited, the brain stops wasting energy on nonsense. Younger minds argue about opinions. Older minds protect peace. Let me tell you the truth about regret. Regret is not about what you did. It's about what you were afraid to do. At the end, nobody regrets resting. Nobody regrets loving too much. They regret not saying it, not leaving, not trying, not choosing themselves when it mattered. Fear is the most expensive emotion you will ever carry. People who cross 100 learn to ask one brutal question before every choice. Will this matter to me when I'm dying? If the answer is no, they drop it immediately. That's why they seem free. Not because life was easy, but because mental clutter was eliminated. Here's another psychological truth. Closure is a myth. Most people wait for apologies, explanations, perfect timing. But closure is an internal decision, not an external event. People who live long stop waiting for others to heal them. They release resentment because carrying it costs energy, and energy becomes precious. You don't forgive to be kind. You forgive to be light. Now let me tell you the final shift that happens in the 100-year-old mind. Identity dissolves. You stop asking, who am I supposed to be? And start asking, how can I be present right now? That's when anxiety fades. That's when comparison dies. That's when peace arrives. Not because life improved, but because resistance ended. So here's the psychology lesson. You don't have to wait 100 years to learn. Live like time is real. Love like memory is all that remains. Choose experiences over impressions. Presence over performance. Because at the end, your mind will replay only what you felt, not what you owned. Most people reach this truth at the edge of death. You still have time to reach it now. Don't waste it. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more psychology-based content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.